to a brand new episode of the Dropkick Basement. Brought to you here by the one and only, the Off the Cuff Stuff Network. Mike Madden on my side of things, my tag team partner. Tommy Schultz on his side of things. Tom, how are you on this pleasant evening?
Mike, I am very elated because we are in my favorite season of wrestling, and that is the Royal Rumble.
The Royal Rumble, yes.
We're in Rumble season.
It's Rumble time. This is interesting this year. I think this hasn't been the best 12 months of WWE's rejuvenation, so to speak. I think they've had some very good points, but they've had a lot of stumbling, and they've had a lot of misfires or just lack of logic in their storytelling. And you always know that by the time you get to Rumble season, it's like, all right, this is the beginning of the hard reset. If we can get back on track, we're going to have a great Mania. We're going to lead up to it in the right way, and hopefully we're going to come out of WrestleMania on the better side of things, more or less. So. That's, again, it's always a hope that we do that, but of course we don't book them.
And there's no better way to restart than in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I think that's when you serve greed as your appetizer, more or less, then expect there to be a bit of a food poisoning.
Yes,
as a byproduct of it. So we'll see how it works. You hear from a few people in like stateside that are like, well, they've already made all of these inroads with the Saudis. We already know that we're going to do a WrestleMania there. It's inevitable. Look how much money they make. Why would they turn it down? So on and so forth. Whatever your side of the morality of doing business with them comes, wherever it falls, like, just realize that they know why they're going there. And there are still people that are like, well, at least you can say the show itself is going to be on earlier in the day.
Yes, that's the only part about it.
So if I want to go out at night, I can put the Royal Rumble on at 2:00 and I can pretty much realize it'll be done by, 5:00 local time and, or Eastern time, I should say. And you move away from it at that point. So with that being said, this particular episode, we've already done our tier listing episode last year where we tier listed the Royal Rumble matches. And that was a lot of fun. We got a lot of insight out of that. So we're sticking with the theme of Royal Rumble, but we're going to be talking about the feature matches and what we think, each of us think, the top 10 feature matches are in the history of the Royal Rumble. So these would be the matches away from the standard Rumble match, the Battle Royal itself. And through the years, there have been some real excellent encounters, and there's some guys that can say that they maybe benefited in certain years from not being in the Rumble because they got a better showcase.
Yes.
Whether they were a world champion at the time, they were a contender at the time, they were just a mid-carder that was working a grudge match, whatever it is, like, you've got a lot of folks that certainly got a shine up from being on the undercard in a match that was away from the Rumble. So we're going to highlight 10 each, and we're going to talk about what makes them special, what makes them unique. Tom, I'm going to start with you on this one.
All right.
Give us the first one on your list that sprung to your mind.
My number 10 favorite, I guess. So I don't know if you want to say favorite or the definitive top 10, but this one is more of a personal pick for me. This is coming off one of my favorite storylines of all time, and this is the 1993 Royal Rumble Intercontinental title match between Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels.
Excellent.
So this match happens right after the famous barbershop window turn. We get Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, comes out of that. Marty Jannetty, the Rockers, they're feuding.
Mm-hmm.
Shawn Michaels is tied to Sensational Sherry at the time.
Yep.
There's a segment on Superstars where Marty comes to confront Shawn Michaels. He goes to hit him with a heart-shaped mirror, and Shawn pulls Sherry into the way.
Scoundrel.
Gets hit. So going into this match, Sherry comes out first, and they're trying to... Who is she with now?
Yes.
Is she with Marty? Is she with Shawn? So you have this multi-layered story that they're telling at this point. Shawn is the IC champion. The match, I mean, it's Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. It's going to be a great match.
Sure.
But the finish, I love, where Sherry goes to commit to being with Marty. She goes to hit Shawn Michaels with her high heel. Wouldn't you know it, he moved out of the way.
That's...
Which then leads to a super kick. Shawn Michaels retains his Intercontinental title. And the story of the Rockers continues.
And forgive me if I'm... Like the timeline on this bounced around because Marty got himself fired.
Yeah.
So they do the barbershop window angle in early 92.
Yes.
Yeah. And you would think like, all right, well, we're going to try and keep them in a feud for a while, but Marty got fired.
Yes. So this is cut.
Marty came back in January. Yes.
Correct. So
yeah.
Essentially the feud picks up right where it left off, and there is a big period of time in between what has actually happened. But prior to the match, of course, they're showing you the video package and doing all that stuff. So when you go back and you watch it in hindsight, it does feel like it's way more cohesive, and that there wasn't that big lapse of time in between. But I mean, this was that's my favorite heel turn of all time.
Yes.
I think it was one of the most well done things. I remember as a kid just like losing my mind. But they have a great match. Marty, man, if he could have gotten out of his own way, he could have had a fucking long, illustrious career as a singles wrestler. He couldn't get out of his own way. And when he's paired up with Shawn, the story that they're telling, it's fantastic.
Right. Yeah. They're perfect opponents because they were perfect partners. And I do remember like watching the angle when Marty came back and he runs into the ring and he's behind the mirror. Mm-hmm. Shawn's posing in the mirror and he's behind, and the crowd is going nuts for him because they haven't seen him in a few months, and it's like, oh, we're picking this up again. So yeah, the crowd's definitely there for it. Shawn had built up like a very good like heel persona from the turn up until that point, and Sherry was a perfect partner for him. Yeah, like this is great. And then I think anytime that they had matches, they were usually like way above average, and they did the IC title switch later in the year. Kind of
Raw, right?
Hot potato to back and forth and it would always bring excitement. As long as the two of them were across the ring or next to each other in a ring, Marty was so well protected by Shawn.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's a very memorable Rumble match and a great way to kick this list off. I'm going to kick the list off with what I think is it's such an underrated three-way heavyweight title match. I'm going to go to the 2015 Royal Rumble. It is Brock Lesnar versus John Cena versus Seth Rollins. Three-way for the World Heavyweight title.
Now, do you want to hear a funny little anecdote?
Yes, please.
That is my number 9.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, good.
So let's
So
we're
not wasting time by talking about it, because this is why I like it so much, and I put it in my countdown. It's you have a contrast of styles between 3 different people.
Yeah.
Brock is the indestructible monster that he is. He's the one that's bearing down on the whole company. He's a part-timer. He's never really there. Everybody hates his presence. And Cena is the established superstar. He's the crowd's obviously going to be booing and cheering him separately. But he's their guy. He's their top guy. And Rollins is, within this year, he had become way more important in a short period of time, because he's obviously doing the best work of his career.
Yeah.
And that would culminate in a few months with him finally becoming the World Heavyweight Champion. So again, you've got 3 interconnected stories. You have 3 interconnected styles. I think this is the first time that Rollins had done the Phoenix Splash in a WWF ring, a WWE ring. I always want to call it F, but a WWE ring.
As far as I can remember, yeah.
And I just remember the crowd going nuts for that, and they were behind Rollins, and the rest of the time they wanted to cheer for Brock because Brock's throwing everybody into the sun, and Cena still has his little kid fans that are cheering "Let's go Cena." So it's got a great energy. It was way better than the actual Rumble that year, and this is one of those times where, and now we're 10 plus years beyond it, and you still say to yourself, man, that stole the show. That wasn't supposed to rule as much as it ruled. So that's that's the big takeaway, is like they left everything out on the mat, and it was a classic match that was made out of what probably could have been a chaotic flop.
Yeah, and I mean, like, what I love so much about it is, like, on paper, I remember that year, like, on paper, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Mm-hmm. Like, this doesn't make any sense.
Rollins isn't ready for it. Yeah.
These 3 guys, it's just like, what is this mishmash? And it was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It set and that was the, it should have set a tone. I think a lot of people shit on that 31 WrestleMania because of the mistakes they made with Bray Wyatt, the mistake they made with Sting and Triple H. But I don't think anybody got set up to be more over and more important. Right after that Royal Rumble match, they were like, Seth Rollins is the shit. He's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And we need to harness this. Yeah, we know we want to do with him down the road, but let's harness this and let's figure out a way to make this guy a lead heel as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So
that was the chemistry in that match. I don't know what it was. That was a special one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So you said that was your number 9.
Yeah, but yes, that was my very next pick. So
I'll go to my number 9. Another World Heavyweight Championship match. This is in the 2008 Royal Rumble, and it is Randy Orton versus Jeff Harvey. Jeff Hardy. This was a sleeper, and I think this is, to me, this is a great match because, A, it shows that Jeff Hardy was ready to be main event. He was ready to be a title holder, and I think like he had won. He ends up winning the belt like within this year or
I believe so.
But it's at Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
He's so very over. Like that crowd was so into him. But I also think like this is just like I said about Seth Rollins. This is the type of time where what Randy Orton are we getting on a month-to-month basis when it comes to being a headliner? And he was being brought to good matches with the right opponents, but then there were like instances where he would bore you to death.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, I should say fortunately, one of the byproducts of working with somebody like Jeff Hardy is there's no way to have a boring match in this time period with Jeff Hardy. Because he's up for it. He wants to get himself, and he knows that he's at that level where he's a semi-main event on one of the 4 biggest shows of the year on their calendar. So he was so into this and so up for this, and Randy Orton was elevated. I mean, yeah, he was like a star and a main event guy, but like he's a main event guy because they slotted him there. It wasn't really an earned situation, or he had earned it. He was dealing with injuries occasionally. He was lazy in certain matches. So this is the certain point where it's like, Randy, it's put up or shut up. You can't like just go out there and do a grind chinlock match. You've got to like keep up with Jeff Hardy. And in my opinion, he did. It was a sleeper match of that night. And the takeaway at the end of it is, yeah, like I think they're right about Randy Orton. And I think like, he's going to use this as a building block, and, eventually, that's why he's a legend now. And I think it also helped Jeff Hardy get to a point in the management's eyes that you could rely on him to go out there and not make a million mistakes. And if he makes mistakes, like he's going to recover so fast from those mistakes that you're like, I trust him with the world. Let's give him the world title and see what he does with it. So it probably isn't going to be the type of match that's like on these guys' resume at the end of their career, but it's certainly the type of thing where you're like, give me a hidden gem from the mid 2000s, and this would be something that I would say absolutely like lap it up. It's a great match.
100%. And I actually went to that Royal Rumble. And that's the only match I remember on that show.
Yeah.
Aside from, obviously, the Cena return.
That was the Cena return, yeah.
That's just the moment. That was the only match that actually stuck out on that card.
Yeah, yeah. That's tremendous. All right. What's your number 8?
So my number 8, we are going to stay at Madison Square Garden.
All right.
It's going to be the year 2000. And it is, funny enough, the Hardys versus the Dudleys in a tables match.
Tables match. Yes. Yeah.
Man.
All right.
So I would say that this is probably the strongest Royal Rumble card this year in particular. And this and this opened the show.
Mm-hmm.
This was, I mean, you have them going all over Madison Square Garden. That moment of Jeff Hardy hitting the swanton off like one of like the like side railings.
Didn't they have like a 3D car in the entranceway? Like the car? Like...
Yeah, there was like there's half a taxi cab.
That's what it was.
That was like hanging down on the entrance. Man, an unforgettable match. This was kind of, I think that, so a few months later they would have the 3-way ladder match.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this was the match that, well, I guess you could say the 99 ladder match, but at No Mercy between Edge and Christian and the Hardys. But then you have this match with the Hardys and the Dudleys, and that's kind of what brings all 3 teams together to what we wind up getting later at WrestleMania in this year. But yeah, unbelievable. Just this was peak 2000s WWF.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, this is just spectacle after crazy bump after crazy bump. Just, oh man, one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time is the 2000 Royal Rumble, and they kicked that one off. And it's a hell of a fucking match.
It's the Dudleys in their element.
Yes.
Right. And the Dudleys weren't when did they show up? They showed up in like the summer of 99.
Like mid 99.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of like they're
like 6 months in.
They could have been wasted as a mid-card act. You know, you got the Stutter and Bubba, you got the Testify Devon, and it could have been like, because there were so many guys around in that period of the Attitude Era where it's like, well, we'll give them a shot. We'll see if they can adapt to our style, then we'll be able to do something with them, right? Yeah. And I think what both teams certainly benefited in the long run was they did not comply. They didn't wrestle WWE style. This is not in any way, shape, or form a WWE style. This is like it's about as ECW as it gets, and it fit. That crowd was there for it. That was a great crowd that night. That whole night. You said it. It's like this is like such dripping with Attitude Era like vibes that whole night, and it's very memorable. And I just remember taking that away and being like, I want more, and they certainly, by that WrestleMania, they ended up giving us more. So that's a great choice. My hat's off to you for that one. My number 8, I'm going with, it's from the 1994 Royal Rumble. It's a tag match, and it's also an angle. It's the Quebecers versus Bret and Owen Hart.
Oh, nice.
And it's for the tag team titles. Bret and Owen had been on this like hot streak. So they had done the match at the Survivor Series where it was the Harts versus Shawn Michaels and Jerry Lawler's Knights. That's for a different podcast. But then it came out of that Owen was jealous of Bret. But then they patched it together. They started to work as a tag team on television a bunch, where Bret's letting Owen get pins. He's letting him do the sharpshooter, and they're starting to bond. They start into this mini program with the Quebecers. They actually had, and I think it was like either a Coliseum video or a Primetime Wrestling like exclusive, that they had a fucking banger match with the Steiner brothers. In the lead up to this, that wasn't on like a Raw, wasn't on a pay-per-view, but the Quebecers were the tag champs at the time. So you have the Quebecers, and I listen. Anybody could have been the tag team champions versus the Harts.
Yeah.
It's just kind of special that you've got 2 Canadians on that side, 2 Canadians on the other side. I always have a soft spot for Jacques Rougeau. And it ends up being the official heel turn of Owen Hart, where Bret gets his leg injured in the match, and they're working the leg the most of the match, and Owen keeps reaching out for the tag and doing a little alligator arming as well to like make sure that Bret's got to reach him, and he's screaming at him, and he's like, and eventually, like, the Harts lose, and Owen ends up kicking Bret's leg out of his leg, and it just sets.
I hate to see it.
It sets the everything in motion that leads up to that next year, that WrestleMania 10, because Bret ends up wrestling in the Royal Rumble that same night, and he limps out with the leg that got kicked out of his leg, and it's still like there was so much planning and so much storyline that went into it, and it's still a great match. Like if you watch it, like it's very much the story of let's wear Bret down, because we know Bret is the major star and he's a major singles guy, and the Quebecers know they can take Owen down because he's less experienced. So we're gonna try and wear Bret down as much as possible. So it's incredible storytelling. There's a couple good hot tags in it too. It's a fantastic tag team match, and it's another one where we're just going to say this. It's probably better than the Rumble match that year.
Oh yeah,
and it's the lasting shot of an angle that becomes 2 years of story. Not even 2 years of story. It becomes like 4 years of story when you think about it, in the whole arc. So yeah, I'm going with that. That's my number 8, Quebecers and Hearts.
I love that pick. And it was a miracle that Brett found the leg that was kicked out of his leg,
right? Yeah,
and make his way and kind of co-win the Royal Rumble
with Lex Express.
With a leg that was just unlegged.
Just unlegged. He unlegged the man. Where do you go for number 7?
Number 7 is coming at you from the 2004 Royal Rumble.
All right.
This is a last man standing match for the World Heavyweight title. Triple H versus Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
I mean, this is just like, so this is not the culmination, but 2 years of story that have been leading up to this, starting back at SummerSlam.
You bet.
Of 2002.
2002, yeah.
Yeah, when Shawn made his return. And, you know, they traded the title back and forth a few times. This is just like it's a long one. This was like...
Yes.
This was like a 30-minute... I mean, they went long.
It's a bloodbath too, right? If I seem to remember, like Shawn is covered in blood.
Covered in blood.
Yeah.
I mean, this feud continues after this. In that, you know, it leads to the WrestleMania match with Benoit, the three of them.
Right.
But yeah, this was just like it's just like a classic, fantastic match that, like, I think because of the Benoit win that year, kind of gets forgotten, with how good it was. And I think that's the same with a lot of these undercard matches on the Royal Rumble show, is because of the pomp and circumstance of the Royal Rumble winner. You never really, it's hard to remember.
Sure. Yes. Or celebrate the guy who wins the
and
Rumble.
Not only that, but this ended in a draw.
Yes. Yeah.
So it was a double down for the finish, which, you know, that leaves the crowd kind of dead for a minute there. When you don't get the definitive winner. But it did help continue why Shawn Michaels is chasing Triple H for the world title, and how they incorporate Chris Benoit into the mix going into WrestleMania that year. So, yep, that's my number 7.
So I was there in person
for this one
in Philadelphia. Yep.
Oh wow.
The Wachovia Center, I believe they were calling it at that point. The match was long. They lost the crowd at a certain point. They didn't lose everybody in the crowd, because I was like, this is, to me, I'm watching that, and I'm like, this is Ric Flair versus Barry Windham. I know where they were going with the finish, because there was some telegraphing, throughout it. Yeah. And it's like, because the amount of blood that Shawn was bleeding, some of the bumps that he were taking were like very dramatic, a lot of 2 counts. A lot of false finishes, kickouts, and whatnot. And I remember at the end of it, like there was sort of like a lot of booing in the arena that night, but there were like the right people were standing up and cheering for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, if you understood that, like, yeah, that probably went like 10 minutes longer than it should have, or 20 minutes longer than it should have, because you're really anticipating at this point, like, you just want to get to the Rumble, because that's what you're there for. So the crowd's a little bit deflated, but it's still like the pockets of people who appreciated it. And that's another one. I think there's maybe because I was there live and I wanted to hear what the commentary was like. That one serves the benefit of commentary afterwards because Jim Ross is telling that story of the friendship and basically the year of brutality between the two of them, or the 2 years of it back and forth, and the stops and the starts, and is Sean truly ready to come back and go on a run and so on and so forth. So there's pathos to it, and I think, like I said, it benefits from hearing the commentary. But yeah, in the arena, it was sort of like, it's Philadelphia. They love the blood, but they were like, we want to see a definitive finish because either one of these guys is great, but we want to see a one-on-one. And they didn't realize what they would get was an incredible main event for that WrestleMania. But it's still a good pick, and it's still a hell of a singles match between the two of them. It's just, I think the finish could have been worked out a little bit differently.
Yes. But, hey. And I do think that I understand that it's like a title match, but I do think that like placement of this, if it had it not been right before the Rumble.
Yeah.
Had it been like first,
let it breathe a little bit. And
you know what I mean? I think people, the anticipation of the Rumble match coming next, I think people are like, all right, do we really need to go 30 minutes now? Yeah. If you open going 30, they kind of forgive it because, it's the first thing you're seeing.
Right. And again, you can sort of like in your brain, you can justify it and watch the screens and say like, oh, this is the story that they're telling with the backstage segments and whatnot. But it's still a good match. It's still a great pick for this list. So that's your number 7, right?
7. Yep.
Okay. My number 7. We're going to go to 2013. We're going to go, the defending world heavyweight champion at the time is CM Punk, taking on the most part-time of part-timers, The Rock.
All right.
So this is... It's CM Punk at his most sports entertainment.
Yeah.
And I'll preface this by saying, like, the promos that he did leading into this were so fucking snarky and good, and they were for the real ones that were like, why is Rocky getting a main event? Why does he have to wrestle John Cena? It's a once in a lifetime match. Why do we have to see it twice? It's already overhyped, and we haven't even gotten to it yet, so on and so forth. He cuts one of the promos that's leading up to he's got the belt and he's on the field at the University of Miami and hits him and Paulie, and he's just running down Dwayne as a part-timer. You don't have you're writing promos on your arm. You don't have the engine for this. I'm the best in the world. This is Punk, like, really embracing the fact that, like, he gets to work with one of the guys that put wrestling back on the map, 10 or so years, 15 years before he ascended to his spot where he was at. The match itself should have ended. Do you want to talk about something that the finish of Shawn and Triple H that they had at that 2004 Rumble should have been the finish of this match. It should have been either a double DQ, a double count out, however a draw. Get to a point where you're like, we want Rock to still be viable. He doesn't have to win. Let this go to a 3-way. Figure out a way to get to a 3-way at Mania. They blew it because they had it. It was in their grasp, and then they opened it up to we're restarting the match. So that's my only caveat. I think the match itself is excellent. I think CM Punk worked his ass off more than Cena to get a great match. This is the last great Rocky the Rock match. Rocky the Rock. This is the last great Rock match that he's had. Everything else has been gaga since this match. And it was also, it's one of the rare times, like, I think he had been, part of the scene for the 10 years, but only wrestled like a handful of times before this. So, and all those other times you're like, well, he's got ring rust, or he's not moving as fast as he did, or he looks deflated, or whatever. Dude was up for this, and you could tell he was up for this. So I think Punk brought the best out of him that night. I think he made Punk work harder to maintain his heat in the match. And Paulie is excellent at ringside. And Paulie is in like the worst woe is me Paulie mode during certain parts of this. And he's doing the hand prayers. Please, get out of that shit sharpshooter. I just think it's a lot of fun. And I give it a lot of credit in that period of WWE where it's like we're heading towards a rematch of Cena and The Rock. We want to make that important for some reason. So we want to put the belt on Rocky for a short period of time. But we really made a mistake, and we should have kept it with... It shows that they should have kept it with Punk because the match was so good. But
yeah,
politics is politics. I still think the match is pretty great. So it's making my number 7 spot.
That's one that I have to revisit because I don't think I've seen it since it happened. Mm-hmm. So I gotta rewatch that one.
Yeah. In the time, it was like that was such a disappointing finish. And
I think that's why I've never revisited it.
For 25 minutes.
Yeah.
For 25 minutes, it's like they had me. This is a great match. And it was just the last 10 minutes of that were like, ugh. Bad taste in your mouth. But still, I think the business that they did before that match and in that match were unparalleled and exceeded expectations.
All right.
Number 6.
My number 6. 1999 Royal Rumble. Speaking of, this is going to be The Rock versus Mankind in an I Quit match for the WWF title. This match is fucking uncomfortable. When you go back and watch it. But it's awesome. I fucking love this match. Mick Foley took the most heinous chair shots of all time, handcuffed, and The Rock got quite overzealous when delivering these chair shots to Foley while his children are sitting in the front row.
I know. That's. I mean, it's very it's very over reviewed after the fact. Yeah. The inclusion in Beyond the Mat. Yep. Foley being very honest in his book about his feelings about Rocky after it and, the lack of sort of accountability that Rocky had at the time for not really sticking to what the game plan was and for kind of laying it in a little bit too much. And but God damn it, Cactus, if you're going to put yourself in that situation, you got to realize that an overzealous greenhorn, I don't want to bury Rocky too much, but he was 2 years in the business, 3 years in the business at that point. It made for it's so dramatic.
It really is.
Yeah.
And I mean, okay, so leading up to this, we get the famous Mankind world title victory over The Rock on Raw. Mick Foley's going to win the title. That should put a lot of butts in the seats. Yep. Probably the biggest pop of all time of Austin coming out to help him win the title.
Right.
So that's leading into this match. And then the finish to this was what I thought was fucking genius. Was in a promo on Sunday Night Heat. Mankind is telling The Rock, you'll never make me say I quit, or I'm gonna make you say I quit. I quit.
Yeah, I quit. Yeah.
And he has him knocked out. He puts the microphone in his face, and they play the audio of from the promo of the pre-show of him saying I quit. So now you have The Rock, who's the biggest heel in the company. He wins the world title on a bullshit way. So now you have the setup to what is undoubtedly the greatest wrestling match of all time, Halftime Heat.
Yep.
But I just thought it was a super creative finish. It's a brutal match.
Yeah.
But this might be the most iconic non-Royal Rumble match on a Royal Rumble card.
Yeah.
And it's probably for all the wrong reasons, but dude, it's a good one. If you can stomach the chair, because at the time you have to also think at the time 1999 people are taking unprotected chair shots
all day,
all day,
night. Yep.
Yep.
You can't just blame Mick, and that's the one thing where they're like, oh, Mick should have been better protective, and blah, blah, blah. Everybody, Vince took freaking chair shots directly to the head in the Royal Rumble match. Yeah, everybody in the company was laying themselves in very uncomfortable situations. So, but that's what led them to making a shit ton of money. So you got to keep that in their perspective. They had a war to win. But yeah, I mean it's one I don't revisit, but I can see certain spots clear as a bell.
Yeah.
The handcuffs, because I remember this is another thing that just sort of harkens me back to the ECW arena. It was one of it was the last match that Cactus had with Shane Douglas at the ECW arena. And they did the handcuff behind the back, and Shane Douglas was pinging the side of his head with the chair shots, and the finish is Douglas has Cactus in a figure four, and Cactus is still fighting, and he's starting to sit up, and Mikey Ripwreck comes out of the back because he was having a program with Cactus at the time, and Mikey Ripwreck swung the steel chair into Cactus's face about as hard as Rocky did in 1998. You were going to a batting cage, and it's just, you hear the impact and it echoes through the listen to it echo through the ECW arena on their TV is one thing. What are they in the Arco arena for that? And you're hearing that sort of like accordion, quang, quang, dong, dong, and it's holy shit, this is. It's a hard. That's why it's a hard one to watch. But again, there's precedent, so you can't really say that he didn't believe in the art that he was trying to put out there. So yeah, it's a good choice. It's a memorable match. Yeah. All right, so my number 6. I'm gonna go to 2019. And I don't think this was something. Again, it was here and there. It was visited on the indies, probably 10, 15 years before this. AJ Styles challenging Daniel Bryan, the Planet's champion, Daniel Bryan. I think they had a couple of interactions on TV or tag matches on TV, whatever it was, in the run up to this. But this was going to be the time where they were finally we're getting a one-on-one between two of the greatest wrestlers, even at this point of their career, 2019. This is two of the greatest wrestlers in the history of the business. And Bryan is out of his comfort zone in this one because he's wrestling heel. Yeah, he's got the gimmick of people's the planet's champion, but he is such a shit like not the snarky yes heel character or the kind of manipulator on that sense. He's the egomaniacal version of Daniel Bryan at this point. And there's a few things that he just he's doing the whole I have till 5 to the referee. He's doing foot stomps. He's really putting AJ through the paces and making AJ work from underneath in this match. And it's so excellent because you would think like these two guys could probably run at 100 miles per hour and have a sprint. And that sprint can probably go for 20 minutes straight. And you're going to get fast-paced, Japan Junior style match or the Ring of Honor style, technical. And they slow it down during certain points and then they ramp it up. Like they merged a ton of styles in, and they were still presenting something where it's like, well, this is WWF main event style because we're still playing to the crowd. We're still AJ's still doing the baby face sells, and he's still doing the gesturing and getting ready for the forearms and trying to get the calf crusher on because he's saying I'm a better submission wrestler than you. So it's very much like two guys in parallel sides of their careers because you could have easily flipped both of them. One's a babyface, the other one's a heel. They worked so well and so synonymously with each other that it's like that's one of those treats that you get. And I remember it being that was a good like undercard that year because they were in Arizona, the Diamondback Stadium.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that one had a good like Asuka versus Sasha Banks match, I think. Or who
wrestled? Yeah.
Was it Asuka versus Sasha Banks? Or no, it was Becky Lynch. Either way, somebody in that undercard. It was a great match in the undercard for the women's side of things that I almost threw in there. But I was like, nah, I really like the setup and I like the execution of AJ and Bryan for that for the Planet's Championship. And that was right after he got that brown ass belt.
Oh yeah.
And he was
great.
And he's doing they did the promos where he's just getting on the fucking fans' case for being fickle. And he like the promo before the match itself, it was from earlier in the day, and he's got that big like that internet sensation hot dog that had all the shit on it. And he's like, this is what you serve at this stadium? You should be ashamed of yourself. Look at how wasteful and how gluttonous this is. And I'm like, Daniel Bryan can do no wrong. He's my favorite guy on this show, and I understand if everybody wants to kill him at the end of it. He's so fucking great. So yeah, him and AJ with a technical classic at that 2019 Rumble. That's my number 6. We're in top 5 mode now.
That's a great pick.
Thank you.
Top 5. So this is from the 2003 Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. It is for the WWE title. Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit. This is probably their best match that they've ever had.
And they had a lot.
They had a ton of singles matches. This might be their best. There's not a ton of story going into it, but it's just an absolutely fucking banger.
Here I'm going to argue with you. There is a ton of story going into this. By the way, to jump ahead, this is my number 1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For a long time, this is my favorite match of all time.
Wow.
But go on. Tell me, give me more of your notes about it, and then I'll pepper in mine.
I mean, this is just a fantastic wrestling match. Like this is, this could be put on any show, on any card, and it would steal the show.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much more to say than that.
They wrestled each other at the previous WrestleMania. At 17. And you say to yourself, like, wow, they really did? They did. They're in the undercard of WrestleMania 17, the greatest WrestleMania of all time, in many opinions.
But that would be 2 years prior to this.
2 years. Okay. All right. Yeah. They do the brand split in 2002, right?
Yes.
Angle and Benoit are paired up as a tag team. SmackDown 6. Yeah. They're in that three-way feud with Edge and Mysterio and Los Guerreros. And Angle and Benoit are the oddball, like, I'm better than you, you're better than me, blah, 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 blah. And they finally get on the same page, and they're like, we're the submission guys. And, you know, even though, like, I might be better than you and you might be better than me, nobody's better than the both of us combined. And then they end up more or less, like, turning on each other. With Benoit being positioned as the babyface. And the lead up to this was... So what was great about it was, I think you had... So Brock is the... Brock had just turned face?
Yeah.
Angle beat him for the title. So this is like... Brock's in that mini feud with Big Show still.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, the only way he had to beat the Big Show in the undercard to earn the chance to be in the Rumble. So meanwhile, Benoit's like, it doesn't matter that, like, you know, everybody thinks Kurt Angle's going to retain. I'm going to win the title here, and I'm the one that's going to be facing Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania because, you know, I'm going to be the undisputed champ going into that, right? So there's a good solid 6 months of storytelling going into this, in my opinion, just because I love the match so much.
Well, when I say that, I mean, like, it was kind of, for it being a world title match, it's kind of like a one-off title match, and there's nothing after this.
Yeah,
this was
right.
I guess so. This is like the culmination, right. The culmination of the story, more so than the jumping off point.
Good point. Yeah. They were in each other's orbit for so long that it's like they need to separate from each other, and this is the point of separation. So yes, in that sense, then there certainly is that kind of gives it the this feels one-offy. For a one-offy, it's I guess maybe in the same sense this is very much like that Bryan and Styles encounter that I just talked about, where it's two of the best guys that they have in the company, like wrestling each other and putting everything out there. This is the match that I always thought Kurt Angle was kind of good. This is the match where I was like, Kurt Angle is untouchable. And I wanted Kurt Angle to be the world heavyweight champion forever because he beat Benoit in this match. And I thought Benoit was my favorite guy in the company.
Yeah.
In 2003.
Yeah, well,
and even in 2004, when I saw him win the Royal Rumble the next year. This is it's a great match. It's got so many elements to it and so many, like, again, false finishes. Everybody's doing each other's finishes. So you've got that back and forth. Angle wins. I remember that crowd standing ovation for Benoit at the end of it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's one of the most deserved standing ovations for a guy that lost. He gained so much favor with that crowd afterwards. And I think he ended up having another neck surgery, like, shortly after that. So who knows if that was like, you know, if he thought like, well, if there's a way to go out for a long period of time, like, I'm going out and having one of my greatest matches that I've ever had in a long career of having great matches. So yeah, spoiler alert, that's going to be my number one, but that's your number 5, which is also, you know, I'm glad it made your top 5. I'm glad it was on your list. I had a feeling it was going to be on your list.
Yes. I feel like any of the top fives we have could probably
intersect.
So either yes.
So let's go. My number 5. I am going to go with. It's from the aforementioned 2000 Royal Rumble, and this one is the street fight, the MSG street fight, Triple H versus Cactus Jack.
So spoiler alert, this is my number 2.
Okay, all right. Good. Hold on to your 1. But yeah, no, this is a car crash. This is again, it's a great angle going into it. Foley is Mankind for such a long time. He's regular old Mick Foley. He's lost the step. Triple H is like firing him, and well, you fired Mankind, but you didn't fire Cactus Jack. Boom. That's like the week before this. They come out and they have this like incredible, like, again, it's another like ECW style brawl where they're all over the Garden. They do, the tack spots. They do crazy chair. Another one where Jack's getting his head caved in with chairs, and like where Rocky was like standing still and like huffing that chair at him. There's a couple like Hunter's running full steam ahead at Cactus, and Cactus is running just as fast in the chair shots from Triple H at this point. And it's back and forth. And part of me, while you're watching it, you're lost in the moment. You're like, he's going to win. Cactus is going to win. They're going to figure out a way to get the belt over back to Hunter. But Cactus is going to win tonight. In the Garden, he has to win. This crowd will come unglued. It's going to be fantastic. He doesn't. It's very deflated. I mean, this is the match I think even Hunter says officially solidified him as a top tier, I can hang with anybody in the business kind of wrestler. Right? So, it's brutal. It goes long. This is a long match.
It's long.
By those standards for sure. Again, the other thing is that it did lead to the Hell in the Cell the next month, which was supposed to be the definitive blow off of the whole thing. So you're at the end of it, even though Cactus loses, you're like, he's going to get another chance. It's fuckery that cost him this match. We're gonna triumphantly see Cactus Jack give it one more chance. So it gives you hope and optimism at the end of it as well, which is always great for a babyface. And it's just, again, the soft spot in me is I had seen Triple H versus Cactus Jack at the Garden in 97 on that episode of Raw. So it's like, here we are, full circle. We're going back to it. We know they can knock it out of the park. These guys are great opponents, and it delivered in every way. So there it is, 2000. You said that was number 2. Anything else do you have to throw in there in regards to that?
I think that solidified Triple H as a main event guy. That match right there.
Mm-hmm.
That put him through the ringer. That's like when they say what really made Shawn Michaels when he was the world champion the first time was that 96 Mind Games match against Mankind.
With Mick. Yeah.
This is the same thing for Triple H, I would say.
Yeah.
It's like this proved he could fucking hang. He could go to the depths of hell with Satan himself and come out on the other side.
Yeah. It's great storytelling, and they were, again, you're looking at them like you said it before, like with the fact that the Dudleys and the Hardys had such a non-WWE match, and you're seeing like this is the height of the Attitude Era where like they have such a great roster, and like here's the two guys at the top of the roster who were like, are setting you up for, the road to WrestleMania.
Yep.
A lot of people talk about, the Rumble match is the road to WrestleMania. These title matches and these undercard matches kind of set you up for what to expect as well.
Yep.
So they shouldn't be undervalued. So that was number 5, right?
Number 5, yep.
Number 4 for you.
Number 4 for me is from the 2017 Royal Rumble, and this is John Cena versus AJ Styles.
Okay.
One of John Cena's most memorable, maybe not most memorable, but definitely one of his best worked singles matches that he's ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is also the match where he ties Ric Flair for his 16th world heavyweight title, which it's crazy to think that it took another 8 years for him to get that 17th one.
Fucking lazy.
Part-timer. Stop making movies, jackass. No, but I mean, this is just like one of my favorite, like, just when it comes to John Cena, there are a lot of matches that you can look to and go, oh, well, he stepped his game up for that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one. They go almost 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just it's there's no gimmicks to it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those Cena matches that you like remember or look back on fondly, there's a gimmick to it. There's no holds barred. There's this, there's that.
Yeah.
This is just AJ Styles proving how fucking good he is, and Cena's showing you that he can hang. And I think that's what puts this so high on the list for me. Is this was one of those first times where I was like, all right, I'll give it to him.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Because for a long time I was not a fan, and this was one of those ones where I was just like, all right, that was fucking awesome.
So he had the match with AJ at the SummerSlam 2016, right?
Yes,
and that
was like when he was doing the US.
That was the US Open Challenge. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and AJ beat him for the US belt, and John Cena's taking off his wristbands, and he's got his head in his hand, like at the end of that one, like, can I still do this?
Mm-hmm.
And then the culmination is he comes back and wins the world belt off of AJ after AJ had won it off of Dean Ambrose at some point, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember hold for hold that match. That's another one I think I would probably have to go back and revisit. And I'd look forward to revisiting it because it does sound like there are bits and pieces of that build-up where I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is going to be that great, and then it exceeds expectation in its delivery and its actual execution. So that's a good one to revisit from me on my side of things. My number 4, I also have a John Cena match as my number 4 from the 2007 Royal Rumble. 10 years before that. Last Man Standing, John Cena versus Umaga.
So this is my number 1.
This is your number 1. Oh shit!
Yes,
we've blown this whole thing sky high. It's now Cena at this point. He's getting a lot of boos. He doesn't really have the hardcore fans at all. It's basically you're here for kids, and you're here for, but the year and a half that led up to this, he's still having like bloodbath matches with JBL, with he had good matches with Jericho, he had good matches with Angle, and I just think that the fans were like, well, he's the corporate champ, and like he's gonna win in the end no matter what, and ride off into the sunset. Then he has this match with Umaga. It's so brutal.
It is.
He's choking him with the ropes, and that's the finish. It's basically like John Cena's like strangling a man with a rope with the bottom rope that they took off the buckle, and it was like they had never done that before and used it as a weapon. If it broke, it broke, or if the ring broke, you sort of have that as a oh my god spot. But they had never done this whole like I'm going to use the surface of the ring as the final weapon. So for me, I'm like, this is such an outside of the box way to close out this match that had been, not just punch kick, but like almost punch kick in a way where Umaga, as agile of a big man as he was, and for them, like he's not used as a traditional big man like Abdul the Butcher would have been, or even Kamala, or these sort of like mute savages that they had through their through the history of their company. He was almost seen as this like sort of hybrid wrestler. So you were going to get big splashes, you were going to get off the top, and a lot of that was kept out of this match because they really wanted to emphasize this is a guy who can out brawl the two best hands in the WWE. So I love it, and I think it was really like, again, it's another one where I don't remember who won the Royal Rumble that year, but I certainly remember watching this match and going, I'm really impressed with what John Cena did tonight, and I might believe in him being, as good as they advertise. So, but it's your number one, so
it's my number one. So I was kind of out on wrestling at this time, and I don't think I saw this pay-per-view in full.
Wow.
I don't think I still have. I think I've yet to see this show in full.
In full, okay.
But for some reason, I don't know if it came on like a shuffle or something on like my YouTube algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, I saw it for the first time, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, how did I miss this?
That was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
The spot where he has a running start in the ring and throws the stairs at him to the outside.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you could have fucking killed that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, this was a brutal match, but in like the best way. Like, not like The Rock and Mankind, where it's like, ugh.
I worry about everybody's safety. Yeah.
They did it so well, and Umaga looked like such a badass.
Mm-hmm.
Cena came out looking like $1 million. He was leading buckets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is my favorite. My absolute. Now, it's not, I don't think it's the best match, but it's my personal favorite.
Yeah. But it's up there with like best John Cena matches.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, like, and talk about like their handling of him in the last year as he was getting ready to retire. I think there were a lot of people that they look at like WrestleMania main events and debuts and, look at this moment that he did. That match against Umaga should have been mentioned more as like,
100%.
That's a moment in time where, like, as I said before, none of the hardcore fans were in on him, and they were like drifting, just like you said, you were out on WWE. I keep saying F. But you're out on it, and you're like, and in hindsight, you go back and it's like, how did I miss this?
Yeah.
Right. If I had been watching it, this might have kept me engaged in that program for the next Monday or for the next, SmackDown or whatever it is to see what the outcome of this was. Yeah, no, it stands up. It stands the test of time as a last man standing match too.
Yeah,
so.
I watched it again the other day, and because I was toiling between this and Triple H and Cactus as my number one. Yeah. So I had to go back and rewatch both of those, and this, and I think it might be like it was like the perfect length of time. It wasn't too long.
Yeah, exactly.
It was about like maybe like 10 to 12 minutes or so. And it was just like, man, they just did so much in that little amount of time, and it was perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt about it. So where are we? Is this number? You're number 3.
So this is my number 3,
okay,
and we already know my number 1 and 2. So this is my number 1, I guess.
Okay,
now
right. Yeah.
This is the last one that we haven't talked about yet, and it may very well be. In your top 2.
I have 2 that I haven't talked about yet. So let's hear your last one.
So my number 3 is from the 2001 Royal Rumble.
Oh, okay.
And it is the Intercontinental title ladder match between Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit.
Almost made my list. Did not make my list.
Unbelievable match.
I'm gonna before you even talk about what's great about it. It's burned into my head is the Walls of Jericho over the top of the ladder.
It's so one of the coolest spots of all time.
Yeah,
but this is just two guys going out there to steal the show, and they fucking succeeded. And I don't remember 100%, but I think this match might have opened.
Yeah,
the card.
It was early. Yeah, I think it did open. As a matter of fact,
man, they killed it.
They kicked the shit out of each other in this match.
I mean, so this was a ladder match where the ladder was like almost like a second thought at first because they're just literally just beating the shit out of each other.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's
but yeah, like you said, the Walls of Jericho spot at the top of the ladder is like one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Isn't there also like a suicide dive to the outside? And is there? It's not. Is it the ladder that Jericho puts up and Benoit like just
goes straight?
Right.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Right into it. Yeah. These two, they went nuts in this one.
Yeah. Yeah. They
As
probably
the kids say this was a banger.
They probably should have taken a little bit better like precaution with each other, but no, these guys were and they were working submissions and they were working their, a lot of their like good signature spots like headbutts and lion salts and it almost made my list because I remember it being really like again, it's just two guys that at the time I loved and I thought were like even though they were like, it's just IC belt, it's like, man, they're making this IC belt division so really, like just next level. Like that 2 years of IC title matches with the likes of Jericho, Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Angle, Malenko, Saturn, like all those guys like that were, even Bob Holly was like part of that, like that crew, X-Pac, like they had so many good, like, mid-card, upper mid-card wrestlers that could just on a light night could like impress you to no limits. That's a great one. I guess like maybe we want to say this is my number 4. Yeah, I think it's my number 4.
I don't even know where we are in this anymore.
But I got 2 more to talk about. Number 4 and then number 3 or number 2. So number 4 and number 2. So number 4 is Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens, 2023 Royal Rumble.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's more of an angle than it is a match.
Yeah.
Because it is Sami Zayn finally turning on the bloodline and getting back together with Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
And that will he, won't he, the chair shot to Roman, the whole like, bloodline overpowering Kevin and having him like at his wit's end and that pop that crowd gave Sammy when I thought he was going to WrestleMania. It was so like that crowd was so there for it. Remember that went on last too.
Yes,
that was after the Rumble. That was after a pretty decent Rumble.
Just for that moment.
Yeah. So
like they wanted that moment last.
That was, and that's the bloodline storyline that they were kind of in the middle of. That it was at that time was really well done. And that was like everybody was coming back to WWE because that was like, look, they've got something like going very well here. And, and we're, we all love Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Like, so they've got some really good storytelling. And then the match itself, I remember it's another one where it's like pretty physical. I think they had 2 matches at Royal Rumbles prior to that. So it was like, well, you're not doing anything new. It's just, we know that Roman is going to go over, but how are you going to get to that point where Kevin has to get saved by Sammy? So for for drama and for storytelling purposes, they really they shook it up that night, and that's a memorable one. So that is that's, I guess that's my 3. And what was my number 2 match way back in the 1991 Royal Rumble. It's the first match on the card. Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels, the Rockers, versus the Orient Express.
Great match.
Pat Tanaka and Kato.
This almost made my list.
I mean, you know me, and I will tell you that these guys wrestled in the AWA for the AWA World Tag Team Championships. Bad Company versus the Midnight Rockers was like, they had some great matches, and when Shawn and Marty were leaving the company, they dropped the belts to the Bad Company, or at one point they lost in the Bad Company. It's truly ahead of its time when it comes to it's ahead of its time, and it's kind of a singular thing to a certain extent, that match. It's a fast-paced Southern style heat spot tag, and then everybody in that match is working so hard, and it goes a long time. This is like a 20-minute, almost 20-minute match to start the night off. And the Rockers were famous for this. Like, they were, they had great matches, like, early in these Royal Rumble cards or early on a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam. So they're going to deliver. The Orient Express at that time is sort of in flux. It's Tanaka and Paul Diamond under a mask as Kato. They had lost Akio Sato probably like a month or 2 months before this. So it's like you just know everybody has worked with each other a million times, and you're getting the best of the best. And it's so fun. Gorilla and Bobby Heenan can't even keep up with everything that's happening in it. It's excellent. It's must see. It's such a fun match to watch. So yeah, it deserves to be pretty high on my list.
Absolutely. I that's another one that I went back and rewatched the other day, and it was just as good as I remember.
And I think this is so because they switched the Orient Express member and they brought in Kato. Vince and Pat Patterson were like, Tanaka, you don't have to wear your shoes, because he was wearing boots like in the previous incarnation. And if you know Pat Tanaka's career, if he wore boots, he was a jobber. But if he had his bare feet and he taped his feet up, Pat Tanaka is one of the best guys in the business, one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time. So you've got Pat Tanaka with the wheels off. He took the training wheels off, and you got straight up two-wheeler bike Pat Tanaka. And this is within the next year, Marty and Shawn are broken up, and they're both on their way. And I think it was sort of like, why wasn't the tag belts in this match? Because they certainly could have
they should have been.
They should have strapped up Shawn and Marty at some point, and these guys could have had like main event matches for the tag titles. But we're just lucky that we had this as a Royal Rumble opener. So in a weird, disjointed way, we've gotten to the end of our. Was there any that we missed talking about?
No, I don't. I had like a few honorable mentions. That was one of them. Brett and Diesel from the '95 Royal Rumble for the world title.
Okay,
was very good. I did think that the ladder match last year with
Cody and Kevin.
I thought that was very good.
Yeah,
and
see, that's good, but that got eclipsed the next month when they did Sammy and Kevin at Elimination Chamber, which was basically guerrilla warfare. Yeah.
And then one that's more memorable for the aftermath, but that the '98 casket match. Between Shawn and Taker.
Shawn and Taker. Right.
That's that was a good one.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought that might be cheating since it's the main event.
True.
And it goes on after the Rumble, but
still, I always think of them as feature matches away from the Rumbles.
Yeah.
The only other one that I thought, and I was trying to really figure out a way to shoehorn it in, there's actually 2 good matches on the very first Royal Rumble, which was not a pay-per-view, which was a special on USA Network. There is, and I think the broadcast might have gone off the air before the end of the match. It was the Islanders against the Young Stallions, Paul Roma and Jim Powers.
Okay.
That's a pretty great match that I think they did air in full, like on a subsequent episode of like Primetime or something like that. And then there was 2 out of 3 falls in that the first card of that Royal Rumble. It was the Glamour Girls, Leilani Kai and Judy Martin versus the Jumping Bomb Angels.
Okay.
For the Ladies World Tag Team Championships. Yes, there was a Ladies World Tag Team Championships before 2019, everybody. And that one was memorable because it came out of nowhere as this classic match that a lot of people sleep on. So that's worth revisiting. There's a terrible Rick Rude, Ricky Steamboat match on that card that goes to a 20-minute draw, and it's like, holy shit, these guys had no chemistry at that time. They got better chemistry later, but
So in preparation for this, I was like, let me see some matches that maybe I forgot about or haven't seen before. And I saw that's the first match on that card, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that sounds great. And I turned it off halfway through.
Yeah. If you love backbreakers, that's great.
That match sucked.
It sucked. And I think it was just because Rude wasn't over or ready at that point, but
yeah. And
Steamboat was just basically phoning it in for that period of time. So what would have been a better series of matches when they had him in WCW in '92.
Oh yeah.
Way better than that. So but this is good. This is a good exercise to actually say hey, everybody loves to say, oh, it's Rumble season. I'm going back and watching all these old Royal Rumble matches. I love the moments. I love the eliminations, the surprises, the this, that, and the other thing. Do yourselves a favor. Any of the matches that we talked about on this particular episode, treat yourself to, an evening in and watch a handful of them. And, tell us in the comments how much you really think that we nailed it with a lot of these, or hopefully it brings back a lot of memories from the undercards of these Royal Rumble matches and how spectacular some of these angles were rolling into the road to WrestleMania. So, feel good about this one, Tom?
Felt great about it.
All right, excellent. All right,
definitive. The definitive top 16 Royal Rumble matches, undercard matches of all time.
That's a good way to put to count the 3 count on this one. So this will be us signing off for my tag team partner Tom Schultz. This is Mike Madden. We hope you have a great night, and we will see you at the matches.